Sally is expected to strike the Gulf Coast as a hurricane. Good evening, I'm Mike Nasa with the Saturday evening update on the tropics. We have quite a bit to cover, so I want to get right to it. This is the latest on Tropical Storm Sally as of 5 p.m. from the National Hurricane Center. It was at 25.7 north, 81.9 west. Winds are 40, so it's a low-end tropical storm, but it is back out over those hot Gulf waters. It is moving west at 7, and this motion should eventually become west-northwest, and then a slow bend back towards the northwest and then north by Tuesday, bringing Sally inland over the North Gulf Coast, somewhere maybe southeast Louisiana, the Mississippi coast, that area as a hurricane. Expected to be at least 85 miles an hour, Category 1, but strengthening or holding her own. So it looks like another hurricane landfall on the Gulf Coast is quite possible and likely. We do have a hurricane watch in effect from the areas of Grand Isle, Louisiana here, all the way over to the Alabama-Florida border. That does include Lake Pontchartrain and New Orleans. Okay? We also have a tropical storm watch from the Alabama-Florida border on over to the Ocklawahnee River in Florida, and that's with the expectation of the right side of Sally bringing those tropical storm winds. You can see right now they're still buffeting areas there near the 10,000 Islands, Cape Sable, Cape Romano, south of Marco Island there. Now, the biggest threat on the Gulf Coast with hurricanes, as you know, is usually storm surge. And right now, the prediction from the Hurricane Center has Sally bringing 6 to 9 feet of surge here near the mouth of the Mississippi, Lake Borgne, Lake Pontchartrain, and Lake Maurepas, 2 to 4 feet. And then, of course, 4 to 6 here near Ocean Springs and the Mississippi-Alabama border, to say nothing of the water rises all along the Florida coast in through the Big Bend area, Pensacola Bay, St. Andrew Bay, 1 to 3 feet. And that's with the expectation of what we're expecting right now. We don't know if Sally's going to intensify more than what we're thinking. Here's long, tall Sally on the satellite. You can see the center is right here. It's still rather ill-defined, but a lot of deep convection blowing up here over the Keys. I'll show you the radar in a minute, but the Keys are getting pounded with nasty weather, not a sunny day down there. But again, it is over water now, so we should start to see some more organization with it, especially on the north side as it pulls towards the west very slowly. The wind shear shouldn't be too much of a problem. It appears as though right when the system's going to be moving over the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to be in a very favorable area of low wind shear. You can see that even better here on the tendencies. Look at those blues. It could get a little wind shear as it nears the coastline, but again, we just can't tell with the timing of the system how much wind shear would impact it. So right now it looks like strengthening pretty much until landfall, and then at least a holding of its own. You can see the sea surface temperature is no problem whatsoever. In fact, Sally's over extreme hot water here north of western Cuba and southwest of Florida. So again, all systems seem go for Sally to organize. The good news is it's not a hurricane yet, so it can't crank up. Remember, when Laura entered the Gulf, it was about a hurricane. This is a low-end tropical storm. So Sally has some work to do, but it could do that work. Here's the radar imagery out of Key West. Again, very heavy rainfall. Trying to remember my geography of the Keys. This is Key West. This is Cujo Key, Cudjoe Key, however you pronounce it there. This is Big Pine Key. Marathon is up further to the north here. All the Keys just getting drenched right now with this persistent fetch on the south side of Sally. And again, try and say that fast, south side of Sally. You can see the center here right off the coastline there of Marco Island and Naples. Pretty naked still on the northern edge, but it will improve as it moves further away from land and the environment gets more favorable. You can see rainfall obviously is a big threat with Sally, especially if it slows down as it approaches the coast. Look at this, 15 to 20 inches possible near the Mississippi Delta. Again, this is all in the early stages, so these maps and graphics will get more certain as time goes by. Here's the water vapor loop, and you can see we have some features at work. We have high pressure here moving in a clockwise direction, and that is to the northeast of Sally, and that's what's kind of pushing it here off towards the west. However, we have this troughiness moving through the middle of the United States that should erode the ridging and kind of trap Sally and just kind of drag it to the north. and that's why we're expecting it to kind of slow down as it approaches the coast. You can see there is an upper level low here over Georgia, and this is kind of hurting the north side of Sally. That's why she doesn't look too good. But this upper level low should get out of the way. The high pressure should continue to push it slightly west, and then as it pulls northwest, strengthening should ensue. So again, there's a lot of factors at work. You can see this upper level low here in the Gulf is probably also not helping Sally and hanging her up a bit here. But again, it's over water, so we don't want it to be too slow of a mover because that gives it more time to intensify. You can see the computer models are getting a little bit here to the west. I don't like that. Definitely Louisiana between Cristobal and Marco and Laura and now this system, they seem to be under the gun a lot this year, so we're going to watch it very carefully. The key messages with Sally as of 5 p.m. Number 1, life-threatening storm surge possible beginning on Monday, and we do have a storm surge watch in effect for southeast Louisiana, and again, the mouth of the Mississippi, Alabama, Florida border. Residents in those areas follow advice given by your local officials. Number 2, hurricane conditions are possible early Tuesday, anywhere from Grand Isle to the Florida border, including metropolitan New Orleans, okay? Tropical storm conditions by Monday. That's the day after tomorrow. So get your preparations ready now. Number 3, Sally is expected to produce flash flooding. Southern Florida, that rain fetch over the Keys. Not to mention flash urban and minor and moderate river flooding all along the central Gulf Coast from Sunday all the way through the middle of the week. Is going to be a very wet week along the Gulf Coast. And number 4, tropical storm conditions possible in Florida. The Florida Panhandle, west coast of Florida, and the Keys. You guys need to watch Sally as she pulls away from the state there. So Sally's going to be the main focus of these updates over the next couple of days, expected to be a hurricane on the Gulf Coast. I didn't want to leave out Paulette because we have a hurricane warning for Bermuda. Paulette is almost a hurricane. It's at 28.4 north, 58.5 west, 70 miles an hour. It's moving northwest at 15. It is expected to bend very close to Bermuda on Monday and be a strong hurricane, 110 miles an hour, almost a Category 3. And if it does become a 3, it would be a major hurricane. We've only had one this year. That was, of course, Hurricane Laura. You can see the satellite here of Paulette. Paulette looks better, still a little bit ragged there on the southern side. See that flatness? But look at the lightning here as the system organizes. Recon's flying out into it, and they may find a hurricane. You see Bermuda here right there where I circled is Bermuda. And that little island, for being out there in the middle of nowhere, they do get slammed a lot. Fabian in 03, Nicole back in 2016, Umberto last year, remember? So it looks like Paulette's going to give a fierce battering to Bermuda. Hurricane warning out there now. Number 1, Paulette is expected to hit Bermuda, or at least get close to it as a hurricane on Sunday, be near the island Sunday night and Monday. Prolonged fetch of strong winds, surge, heavy rain, and a hurricane warning is in effect. Preparations to protect life and property need to be rushed to completion. Number 2, the swells from Paulette are going to hit the Greater Antilles, the Leewards, the Bahamas, all the way to the East Coast. So if you're out there swimming, be very careful about the rip currents. It's going to be very, very dangerous as Paulette turns away. I wanted to mention Renee is a tropical depression, not expected to strengthen. It's been very pitiful looking out there. However, the computer models show that it should be pushed west-southwest here as it weakens under high pressure. And with this hurricane season, you got to keep an eye on it. You don't want it to come back down the road somehow. We have a brand new tropical depression 20, I have to mention. Running out of time here. I try and keep these things as short as I can. I'm on 9 minutes now. TD20 is at 11.4 north, 33.5 west, winds of 35, is expected to become a hurricane. The next name, by the way, is Teddy. We alternate male-female. We had male Renee, female Sally. The next name is Teddy, and it should be Hurricane Teddy, strengthening but moving out. You can see computer models generally keep the system out at sea, but if you're in the islands, keep an eye out because we just don't know. We do have another invest area here over the Cabo Verde Islands, and that could also become a system, just very, very active. Right now, the focus is going to be on Sally, expected to hit America as a hurricane by Tuesday. Paulette expected to hit Bermuda as a hurricane by Monday and Tuesday. A depression expected to become a hurricane over the next 3 to 5 days. And another system out there we'll watch, and of course, pitiful Renee. Very active in the tropics. I'm Mike Naso. Stay tuned for further coverage.